Hello everyone. Let's look at Restack, which is the open source framework for autonomous intelligence, helping developers build resilient autonomous AI applications. Wow. So they've got TypeScript and Python examples. So I thought we'd just look at these, see what the state of the union is currently with some of the AI frameworks. I've done enough Langchain examples recently or in the past, so I thought I'd just look at this. So this uses something called an engine, which is Docker. Then you go into the developer UI. We won't worry about the UI side of things for the time being, but let's just look at the intro. And Restack framework is polyglot, allowing developers to build in both. Okay. So they designed it to address the challenges while scaling AI applications, creating truly autonomous applications, blah, blah, blah. Okay, sounds good. Let's look at the architecture. So you've got various clients, including Flask, Fast API, Django. And then you've got the services, Docker, Kubernetes. Let's have a look down here. See if we can find some Python code to get our hands dirty with. So the Restack Python library provides functions for your AI application. So why no built-in API integrations? Direct function implementation enables full control over API interactions without framework-imposed integration constraints. I think that's probably a good point because as good as Langchain is, the framework can be frustrating, I would say. So let's look at some examples anyway. So what we've got here, audio transcript, a basic example using Restack AI library to transcript audio file to text and then translate it. Let's view the code. So PyProject TOML looks like somebody's been using UV. SRC, EMV example. Let's look at the EMV files. So they're using OpenAI. Restack transcript. So Docker, run Docker locally. Create EMV file with Stripe secret key. I don't know why you need Stripe. Okay, let's look at the source code tree. Client and services. Let's look at the client. Cloud Connect options, Restack, AI.restack. Okay. Services. Translate workflow. So that's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And then you've got your functions and it's running async IO, asynchronous. Right, then let's look inside workflows. Transcribe, translate.py. Here we get into the nitty gritty. So we're providing a file path and a target language. Okay. Passing in the file path and it's awaiting workflow step. And then it returns a transcription in the target language. Okay. Transcription, translation. Let's go back a step. See what else we can do. Basic example using Restack AI library to send emails with SendGrid API. Stripe. A basic example using Stripe to create product and payment link. Okay. Sounds good. And autonomous projects. This is more interesting. So monitor HN for interesting projects, create to-dos to reach out to their creators. Human in the loop. trigger or receive calls, autonomous PR creator, autonomous. Let's have a look at, okay, Python, Flask, Fast API, Streamlit, WEBDOCK, Langchain. So Flask and Streamlit, we've all had a go with those. Fast API, kind of the lingua franca for writing APIs in Python. Let's look at autonomous browser. That sounds interesting. So the following tutorial can be found on GitHub, clone the repo. This project tackles FOMO on cool Hacker News projects. It uses an autonomous AI to keep an eye and ping something interesting pops up. So Next.js front end for Python, back end, poetry install, level 0, automated, open front end, localhost. Notice the difference between, that's quite a lot. Python's quite short, but it's okay. Right, so it is, it's using await, so it's asynchronous. So lots of GUI stuff going on here. With the agentic, the user has a chat where they can ask anything to the AI. In the example, the user asks to search projects in healthcare and create tools to contact creators. Yeah, I don't know if anybody else has kind of got a YouTube account, but as soon as you put there's a little button that you can click to reveal business address, business email address. I'm getting the idea that some of these things are scraping the YouTube channels and emailing all the channel owners because I'm getting stuff. TypeScript, so that's TypeScript, that's for the front end. When the LLM decides to use a tool, the function sends an event to the assistant workflow. There's TypeScript as well. Okay, so it's all going quite TypeScripty there. Hmm. More TypeScript. Let's go back to Restack Cloud. With Restack Framework, you're free to self-host or deploy with Restack Cloud. Deploy your app. Okay, so there's an API that helps you deploy it to the cloud. That's nice. Right, let's look at libraries. TypeScript, npm, TypeScript, blah, blah, blah. So it says polyglot, but a lot of it's Python, but it typically ends up back at TypeScript. So polyglot is maybe slight exaggeration. Okay, let's go back and just see if we can find some actual working examples. So use cases, let's have a look. Companies building with Restack, Oscar, Orange, CGI, Stone. Let's have a look at another one then. So let's have a look at video production, video use cases. Script generation. So use AI to generate video scripts based on. So I'm getting the impression that a lot of this you could actually just do anyway, just conversing with ChatGPT. Autonomous video publishing. So schedule and publish videos across based on engagement. Is this Emperor's New Clothes? That's always the question. So what's it using? Import YouTube. Wow. Restack integrations. Okay, so maybe we're getting somewhere. Let's have a look for this. Show me YouTube example. Earn by building. Okay. We're offering exciting opportunities for talented developers to create groundbreaking AI applications using Restack's autonomous framework. Wow, so you can get $500 for contributing pre-built examples. Contribute and 500 for each accepted submission. What's the 10K for creating open source projects? So let's have a look. Here are some of the projects and pre-built examples we'd love to see. So build next generation AI software engineering platforms, streamline engineering workflows. So this is for developers. Marketing, transform marketing by continuously analyzing campaign performance, optimizing ad spend, and providing real-time insights on customer behavior. Okay. Build an autonomous trading product. Good luck with that. You would, yeah, I don't even know enough to comment about that, but yeah, if you can do high frequency trading, then you probably don't need to be tinkering with code. Um, product teams, data analysis, task creation, insights creation, enabling product teams to focus on right AI handles routine tasks, behavior, okay, whatever that is. Video production pipelines, autonomous AI that automates video creation by generating, editing, and optimizing content. Okay. Start with our quick start guides, join Discord. Okay. Awesome autonomous. Let's have a look at that. That sounds good. And uh there's nothing there. Share your project. So nobody's shared a project yet. You can probably get the idea that I'm not being paid to review this or promote this because if I was, I wouldn't be doing a very good job. Restack versus Langchain. Let's have a look at that. We're often asked about the difference between Restack and Langchain. Learn how they differ and the problems they solve. So Langchain, chat with my data applications. Autonomous, durable AI. Okay. Well, this is going to be kind of a bit biased anyway, isn't it? But use Langchain in a Restack workflow. Okay. So they're trying to draw in people who already like Langchain, I would guess. So Pydantic for your model, OpenAI chat for your LLM, Langchain for your framework, and then your functions from Restack. GPT 4040 mini. No, yeah, that's not really telling me very much. With the Langchain function wrapped in the Restack decorator, it can be used as a step in a Restack workflow. So basically, it's a framework on top of a framework. Not my preferred way of going about things, but I think it's early days to commit yourself to one framework and putting all your eggs in one basket because these things are going to evolve very quickly, and you get what's called the network effect, where a bit like Facebook and Twitter became kind of the dominant, and everything else fell by the wayside for a few years. Arguably, that may change with sort of Nostr and all these other new versions of competitors to Twitter, but there's a Docker file. So I don't know about you, but I am finding myself experimenting more with Docker files at the moment, especially when I'm doing. If you watch my recent video on using natural language to SQL, I wanted to use a realistic Postgres database and a MySQL database. So I used the MySQL was 4 million records, or I think it was 4 million. Yeah, and you don't want to be installing the database and creating all those records from scratch. So Dockerfile is great for that. Docker Compose. I had an issue with Docker when Docker compose up. I think sometimes there's a hyphen and sometimes not. And I think you have a symbolic link. If there's a hyphen, you just create a symbolic link, whereas there's no hyphen. But that's yeah, that's I wouldn't say niche, but that's just going off on a tangent there. Hackathons. So that's already happened. Let's see what the 150 euros in cash for the top implementation of Restack. Hacker night. Let's see. Right, this is my pet hate with videos when the font is too small. My other one is bad sound, which I'm really guilty of myself. But I'll go away. That's too much. Right. Okay. Oh, that's not too bad. So I think there's still a long way to go with a lot of these AI things where it's still kind of one-to-one. It's one user talking to one LLM. I think the real power is going to be with distributed and with obviously agents, lots of agents all talking to each other. And on Nostr, there's something called data vending machines where you can use WebLN Lightning payments of like Satoshis, which are like a millionth of a penny or something like that. And yeah, you could automate the payment then. So um, that's the problem because a lot of this AI you can build, but if it needs payment or it needs paid for API, then you could, before you know it, you could be subscribing to 10 different APIs that are all $50 a month or something. So yeah, it's interesting, but I think there's hmm, there's reasons to look at it and be aware of it, but I think there's also reasons to be hesitant about getting too deep into some of the proprietary stuff at the moment. I mean, how many of us really want to receive calls with Twilio? Maybe. Um, Vercel AI SDK, Mistral. Okay. That's it for today. I think I'm just going to leave it there really, but it's just been a little bit of a whistle stop tour of one of the competitors to Langchain. Um, and if you are learning Python, then stick with it because it is really the lingua franca of AI still. Um, for more performant things, I am using Rust for doing embeddings with multi-threading and async and all that good stuff. But for prototyping, I think Python is there's a lot to be liked for doing things easily and quickly in Python just to get proof of concepts up and running and so on. Um, and yeah, Docker. So if there's anything you can take away from today's video, I would say uh, don't shy away from Docker. If you can write a Docker file or edit a Docker file or even just clone a Docker file from GitHub, just use it. Um, much of the things you will do will need a database. If you need a database, then a Docker file is the easy way to get that up and running. If you're not using the Docker file, what are you using? Are you using a big text file? A big flat text file? I don't know. But Docker, Docker file, YAML file, it's all stuff that is worth knowing. And I think Poetry or UV, there's a lot to be said for those as well. I think requirements.txt feels a bit old-fashioned now already. I know it was that Arjun Codes did a video about um, engines. I created an engine. So I signed up for the, let's just zoom in on that. I'll show you it. Yeah, Argent Codes did a video on UV, and it is written by Astral, who are backed by VC venture capital. So not 100% sort of the open source model that we all know and love, but I think if you can be familiar with using UV or Poetry or Rye, I did some videos on Rye, one video. Let's just what day is it today? Thursday. Let's just call it Thursday. Runs on Restack Cloud, one-day retention for completed workflows, create engine, production cloud. Let's create the engine. So then we get an engine ID and an engine address, and create an API key, which I won't do for obvious reasons. Get $1,000 of credits. Okay, you have to schedule an interview with one of their salespeople. I won't do that right now. So you create an engine, and then you have stacks. Build and deploy your autonomous application stack with Restack Cloud SDK, Python. Okay, it takes you back there. Poetry install, localhost, hello world. I did do this a while back, so yeah, you can just do the hello world example. If you follow from, yeah, you clone that, get started. From it, sorry, clone the examples dash Python and then go into the examples Python, get started there. This is a hello world thing with Docker backend. So create engine, deploy the stack, get token, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's all kind of quite nicely presented and easy to use, I would say, but yeah, chat with us to enable. So create a cluster on your AWS, GCP, or Azure to deploy your autonomous application stack. Right, so there we go. That's just a quick look at Restack. It's got some Python stuff on it, but yeah, the key takeaway from this video, I would say, is just use Docker, because more and more you're going to be needing a database for doing any AI stuff, and if you're going to be even if you're going to be doing stuff with sort of vector databases, you may still need a traditional relational SQL database just to do your message history or history and all that kind of stuff, and plus your user accounts if you want like different namespaces and all that sort of stuff. I don't really know what I'm going on about now, but yeah, I'll leave that there. And yeah, have a look at Restack. It's like a framework similar to Langchain, and there's some goodies on offer. So if you're feeling creative, then you could go and build something. Thanks for watching. I'll be back soon.